What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Moats experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
Let's go, bro.
Man, how are we doing at the what they say butt crack of dawn? How are you living over there, baby?
Everything's going well. Yeah, no
Yeah.
complaints over here, man. Outside of still me not having a Super Bowl and Madden Ultimate Team. Bro, it's
Oh,
dude, I don't think you
oh,
understand how bad it's getting right now.
oh no! What's going on? Talk to
People
me,
are talking
man.
about a curse even in the Twitch chat.
What
It's
is
getting
that
bad.
bad? Oh
It's getting
no!
bad, dude.
Oh no!
It's getting bad. Like I'm in the AFC Championship game multiple times. Like the flukiest shit happening at the end of
Oh no!
games.
Oh no!
Yeah, so I just gotta keep plugging along with that. But yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. That it's weighing on me though. I want to deliver the championship.
Yeah, yeah. And you want
People
to
are
do it the
waiting
right
for
way
it.
as well. You want to do it the right way. You're not being desperate. You're not going to act irrational, make any switches at quarterback or any other position. Whew, yeah, this is tough. I can see it weighing on you, man.
I know. I'm working through different playbooks. I'm trying everything right now. Trying
Oh,
everything.
you didn't want the Canada playbook anymore. You went back to the Fiechner, or you at the Haley? Which one you at?
I'm trying to find the Haley one. I think the one I was using was the Canada playbook though. I
Oh
think you're right.
no! Oh no! There's a little sabotage going on, man.
Yeah, exactly. No, it is. It is. It's atrocious. How's it
Man,
going with you though?
man, shoot, can't complain. Like I said, pitch black outside. Saw a shooting star the other day, so that was pretty cool. But other than that, man, yeah, the normal weather, 70, sunny, breeze. Now I talked to my little ones this morning. It snowed back home, bro.
Yeah.
Is that accurate? It's
Yeah.
snowing back home. That's crazy, B. Yeah, yeah. Not gonna lie to
Yeah,
you, man.
grounds are covered, just not
Yeah.
the streets. But yeah, basically you can't see the grass anymore.
Wow.
March 9th. This is par for the course, though. This isn't anything crazy.
It is, but we were getting teased. We weren't getting snow for a while back home. Thought, okay, we the transition. Man, the good weather time. Yeah, not so fast, my friend, in the words of Lee Corso. Whew, I like it. I like it. But I was gonna say also, man, just a heads up. We gotta cut it a little, 7:45 today, because I do have my morning yoga. Namaste. Namaste. And I have my morning meditation, okay? So we got to make sure we on one accord. Now, you a yoga guy, Deke? Because I always come up here and I talk about my yoga. You never tell me if you're a yoga guy or not. I feel like it's like you either like yoga or you don't like yoga. I'm learning to warrior pose. Namaste. But are you a yoga guy, man?
I'm not opposed. I've done it like twice before. Uh, it's tough, dude. It's
Yeah.
really tough. And this was like early morning. I got
Mhm.
up. My one friend, I mentioned him before. He used to play for the Steelers back in the day, but he was
Mhm.
doing this thing. There's like this yoga studio. They like cook up the room like a sauna. So
Oh, yeah,
oh,
that's
it's
that hot yoga.
insane, man. It's
Ooh.
insane. He's like, bro, you gotta try this. Just stop by. It's like literally 5 a.m. in the morning. And I'm just thinking, all right, this will be nice. Just get my mental right or whatever. Just start the
Right.
day off early. This will be cool. Bro, it was harder than any workout I've probably ever done. I'm being serious because I don't know what yoga activates, but there's like
Yeah.
core muscles or
Oh,
balance
absolutely.
muscles going on.
Absolutely.
And that was so hard. I mean, like 5 minutes into it, I'm dripping sweat. I didn't make it that long. I knew it was
Yeah.
good for me. I still understand it's probably good
Yeah.
for me, but
Right,
yeah,
right.
no, I never really got back to that.
Man, that is funny. The boy said that the hot yoga workout was harder than anything I've been done. No, man, I'm not gonna lie. I'm enjoying yoga. Like I haven't done yoga realistically since like college when it was a part of like our off-season workouts and it was mandatory. We would just kind of laugh and joke about it. But I do kind of like the principles of it and the peace of mind and the flexibility and stuff like that. But yeah, anytime I saw the hot yoga studios, I'm like, ooh, I barely like yoga as regular. You gonna throw that heat on me on top of it? Ooh,
Oh, it's
I ain't ready for
insane.
that. Yeah, I ain't ready for that one.
It was
Yeah.
insane. This is like early crack at dawn in the morning.
Yeah, nice way to wake you. Yeah, I wake you up now. Absolutely.
Oh, it did. I
Yeah.
probably went right back to honestly, from what I remember, I think I did that. Went out, maybe grabbed something at Sheets, and then went home
Was
and
that
just
something
went
a
right
White
back to
Claw?
sleep. It was a waste of my time, actually.
Was that something that you grabbed the White Claw when you was coming back home, or was it just like a regular like other beverage? You know what I mean? We were just
I don't know if they were
asking.
selling alcohol at the time. This is probably like 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know if they had their license yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it might have been early on, or maybe in the beginning of stages.
That boy went and got him a Mike's. He had a Mike's Hard Lemonade on the way home.
Yeah, exactly. I do all of that, and then just grab like a hot dog and a beer or something, go back to sleep.
No, that's funny, man. That is funny. But like we always do, man, we got a jam-packed show today, man. We're gonna talk about this Aaron Rodgers situation, react to the Russell Wilson news, and more importantly, man, we got to talk a little Bobby Wagner. Yeah, you know, LBs around here, we get a little excited for Bobby Wagner becoming available. So with that being said, man, let us know where you are tuning in from so we can give you that big boy shout out and we can get this show on the road, baby.
I'll start off with Damon Brown. 478, Macon, Georgia in the building.
Let's go.
We got, I was going to jump to a super chat. I'll wait for it though. Mike Lang. 336, Greensboro, North Carolina.
There he is.
Bart Basquiat, always having a good time, always tuning in. 805, Thousand Oaks, California.
Thousand Oaks, he round the way. He like my neighbor. What's up, neighbor?
Michael Crow, 724, close by. Connor Cassidy, the 541.
Okay.
Phil Bing, haven't seen this name. This is Savannah, Georgia, 912.
Yeah,
Thanks
shout out
for joining.
to that. Absolutely, man.
Cody James, the 860, home of ESPN. He's up in Bristol.
Okay. Well, we're glad you tuned in over here. You might be multitasking, but as long as you're tuning in here, we salute you, baby. Appreciate you.
Donald Copeland, Hill District. Big Backwood Blazing.
Ooh.
Rod Young. 514 in the house. I'll name a couple more if you want any. Let me know.
I'm going to jump in. So, man,
Ray
first off.
Walworth, Youngstown, Ohio.
Okay.
John Ziegler, Gettysburg, PA, 717.
Okay.
All you.
Well, I'll take off right where you stopped at. Lovin' Madden, a.k.a. Stephanie Ramirez. She said it's 6:10 a.m. and I can confirm that. Actually, it's 6:08 on my clock, but all good. She said she's in the 818 California. You already know. Jacob Carpenter, the 217 Springfield, Illinois, because there is no noise in Illinois. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that. All right? But then, I got to shout out the crib. We got Rhiann Farber, 785 Northwest, Kansas. Rashawn Johnson, the 757, Norfolk, VA, a.k.a. the crib. And then we got Robert Martin as well, tuning in from the 757, Williamsburg, Virginia, man. So big time shout out to everybody in the chat with us. And from there, man, let's hop into these supers so we can get this thing rolling.
I got you. We got Litzberg 7. What's up, guys? My goal is to get a Super Bowl with the 100% Steelers theme team before you, Deke. Wow.
He took it personal. Oh, no.
I guess so. I feel like we're on a team, so actually I'd be pumped for him. I hope he does win. I hope he pulls it off because in my opinion, Madden Ultimate Team right now is like good versus evil. It really is. So I would be pumped for him. It's like, oh, wow, you took the good side. You took the light. You were able to take down the evil.
Yeah.
So I'm rooting for him. It's not like I hope he doesn't feel like it's a competition or anything. I'm on his side. We're all on our own path because maybe he's just better at Madden than me. That's all.
Oh, okay. Now
I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to get there.
Yeah, but I say just don't be washed.
I'm not washed.
Okay.
No, dude. I've gotten better at this. I was not joking when I said I need to win this championship before I even play another video game, particularly NHL. So I need to get better. I had to look myself in the mirror, look at my mistakes, watch the tape. Go to the drawing board. I have gotten better. I mean, people can attest to that. It's just like, man, I'll tell you what, though. Some of this stuff is like, Madden just wants this to happen to you. I'll put it to you that way. Madden wants you to fumble randomly on this play. Madden wants you to throw a pick. Madden wants your guy to randomly to drop it in this key point in the game. That's what's been going on.
Oh, man.
So yeah, discouraging at points, but integrity.
Hold you back. We're not gonna let
it'll always win out.
We're gonna get this done. We're gonna
put it to you that way
today. That's just how it rolls, man. That's just how we gotta go. But yeah, integrity
matters
with Madden.
AJ Martinez
integrity does matter. Anybody can win a championship. Not everybody can do it with integrity. So you keep that integrity, Deke.
Thanks, dude. AJ Martinez. Is Deke going to get us another championship? Yeah. Do we add it to the Super Bowl trophies down at Heinz Field?
I think we should, personally. I mean, after all the adversity you're having to overcome to win it, absolutely, I think we should.
Yeah. We got Black and Martyr. Always giving us some support. We appreciate that.
Big time salute. Always appreciate you, baby.
Pop Rose. Deke pulled a Bills on his last stream. I forget what that was.
Whoa. Why do I feel like that had a negative connotation towards it?
It definitely does.
To? I mean, what was that? That's what we're doing now? I'm
trying to think what happened. Why particularly the Bills? I mean, I lost in the AFC Championship.
So maybe that was what it was. Maybe that's what it was.
Pat Freiermuth dropped a wide open corner route, clearly in his hands.
Had to be a bad
99
throw.
Overall. I mean, it's just unreal there.
Was it an overthrow?
No. It hit it. Listen, it was close coverage, but like he's taller, got more weight, got the size, man to man. It hit him right in the hands. It hit him right in the hands. Dude made a play on the ball, like swatting it over top, but like, you don't know the countless times I see the other teams make those catches, and it's no problem. Especially here's the thing: if he was like 93 overall, 95 overall, that's fine. But this dude's 99. It's a gold 99. Like, goddamn, you got to catch that.
I like it, bro. I like it. Well, man, we're gonna need this. All right, we're gonna need you to keep putting in this work. Okay, don't bills on your next stream. Just go ahead and win it all, okay? Add us another Lombardi. They all count. It doesn't matter if it's a Madden one. It doesn't matter if it's a regular Super Bowl one. Just as long as they championships, we need them all right? So bring it to the table, pretty please.
I appreciate that. I appreciate
yes, indeed.
The words of encouragement.
Well, I'm just grateful for your integrity on your Madden Ultimate Team.
That's what it's all about, man.
Namaste.
That's what it's all about. And you're in this space right now. You're soul searching and stuff. That's my thing. I'm not looking to sell my soul, and that's what all these God Squads have done. They've literally sold their souls to try to win championships in this game. I told you, it's good versus evil. I'm trying to stay on the right path. Honestly, I might have to read the story with I might have to read that story about Jesus in the desert from the Bible. The devil's tempting him and stuff to eat the bread or like take over the city. This whole city could be yours. But no, he stays fasting.
Just jump. If you can do it, just jump.
Yeah, have the angel save you. No, we're good. We're on the path. We're staying on the righteous path right now.
I feel you, baby. Namaste. So with that being said, man, let's hop into this first topic, all right? Because I believe in you, Deke. And this is a guy that we kind of believed in as well. But instead, he's taking his talents back to Green Bay. 4-year, $200 million extension, $153 million guaranteed. Quick reaction. Were you surprised to see him go back to Green Bay versus retiring or potentially going somewhere else?
No, that's the one that made the most sense to me the whole time. It's just that all of a sudden we saw that report earlier in the week that Steelers were in the mix, Titans were in the mix, and also the Broncos. At least they all had deals in place for Rodgers. So we didn't really know what he was thinking because he didn't really give us too much. Because he had that interview on Pat McAfee's show too last week. Didn't even talk about decision, timeline, anything like that. So if he just wanted a fresh start and didn't care about legacy, staying with one team his whole career, or even like the money that they gave him and just wanted something new, then any of those teams could have been an option. But ultimately, I think Green Bay, with the division they're in, now all of a sudden the NFC is continuing to get weaker with Russell Wilson getting traded to the Broncos. Tom Brady's out of there. Drew Brees retired a couple years ago. His division sucks. That's the team that made the most sense to me. They brought Devontae Adams back. They probably won't have the same exact roster that they did last year. They're probably going to be missing a piece or two like Zadarius Smith. Maybe Devondre Campbell goes away. But they're a really good organization. They're going to figure it out, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win the division again. They're a top 3 seed in the NFC, and Rodgers is putting up pretty good numbers. So it made sense to me. I mean, they went 13-3 the last 3 years. You know how he had that whole offseason last year about, man, I want more control. There's just things going on with me in the organization. Doesn't sit right with me. It's like, bro, they put a pretty damn good roster around you. So he didn't have much to complain about when it was all said and done. And I thought it made the most sense for him to go back to.
No, man, I agree with you, dude. It did make a ton of sense for him to go back to Green Bay. Everything is in place for him there. And at the same time, that's all he has known. we kind of talked about, when you're deciding whether or not to leave or not, how it can weigh on you just emotionally with your teammates, your family, even fans. So, I mean, seeing him stay, like I said, I could definitely understand that. But then more importantly, 4 years, 200 M's.
You buying the numbers? That's coming from your boy.
Dude, 153 fully guaranteed.
Rappaport.
I mean, it's on NFL.com now. I believe the NFL.com. Yeah. I never even cared to look at it. And it's funny. You'll notice even in when I did the reaction video, I never said anything about how much was the guarantees or who reported, because I'm like, I don't like to put my name. I don't want to put my name on his name. I wait to NFL.com, then we can get down to details and all that other stuff. Then I start to believe all those numbers. Otherwise, yeah, I'm with you, bro. I always get a little
Did you see the back and forth between him and McAfee a little bit?
I did not. No, what happened?
Not a big back and forth. McAfee responded to it, though, because Rappaport put out the numbers on Twitter. So you didn't hear Rodgers dispute it? Because that's what McAfee did. He commented on Rappaport's numbers, 4 years, 200 million, 150, whatever, guaranteed. And McAfee said, my source says that these aren't true just yet. Nothing signed. So I don't know.
Good old Rappaport, man. Good old
Watch,
Rappaport.
he's gonna make it so it's like 49 million a year.
Of course, something just to change a little bit. You know how he is.
Yeah.
But no, man, as a whole, man, it did make a lot of sense for him to stay. Green Bay has bent over backwards for this man. In terms of, like you said, every single year they've brought in whatever he complains about. I need this. I need more of that. They've been doing that. They've had an elite roster around him for the past couple of years, and we've seen that reflected in the success that they've had in the regular season. Now, postseason is a little bit different, and that is, why people are kind of changing how they view him in a sense. But as a whole, that was the best situation. And as you already mentioned, you don't want to hop in this AFC right now. This AFC getting real. It's getting real.
Particularly the AFC West, if it was going to be the Broncos. I mean,
absolutely, man.
Russ should do just fine over there, but man, that's going to be a gauntlet for those teams.
Yeah. So if you're looking at Rodgers in the NFC, you're like you said, man, I'm looking around and a lot of these guys are gone, or a lot of the dogs are in that AFC. So you just feel a lot more confident that you can continue to have an easier pathway. Very similar to what we would say with the Patriots back when they were in their heyday with Tom Brady. It was like, man, them coming out the AFC East was almost a guarantee that they were going to be winning that division and racking up just a ton of wins that would always have them in that 1 or 2 seed. And we know how beneficial that can typically be come playoff time.
Oh, yeah. Who's the contender in the NFC North right now? The Vikings? Are you kidding me? Seriously. I mean, Lions are dumpster fire. Chicago. A lot of that relies on Fields taking the next step, but I don't think they're going to have really a good roster around him. And then Vikings, they're just consistently mediocre. Now they're bringing in a good coach, but with Kirk Cousins at the helm, I think you're pretty limited. You're going to go like 500 again. So easy path for Green Bay. What do you think of the numbers?
Well, in terms of, I was surprised by the length of it. Yeah, because this is a guy that was flirting with retiring. This is a guy that was like, man, is he going to play? Is he going to retire? Or is he going to leave Green Bay? So to see the length of contract be for 4 years, that was a lot longer than I had expected it to be for him. I thought 2-year, 3-year deal was going to be more in line. I thought 3 years to help with, some of the cap situation, but I just did not see 4 years in terms of the new deal in place because he was already talking about potentially retiring. So that was kind of how I thought about it, man. What about you, though?
50 feels like a lot.
Yeah.
I do wonder if the QB market is going to have to start to reset itself here.
But he's coming off back-to-back MVPs, though.
I know, but he still couldn't even get over the hump with Jimmy G, right? Now, as much as I believe in having the franchise guy.
But it wasn't just Jimmy G. San Fran is a good team.
No, but that's my point, where you could spread that money around to build like an awesome defense to combat these quarterbacks. That's my thing.
Right.
Because I know it is a team game. It 100% is. So if you could build an awesome defense to combat Mahomes, Josh Allen, and then pay your quarterback, maybe, just maybe, because this is against my traditional way of thinking. I'm just wondering if there's going to be a point, man, like 50 million, that's a ton. Now you can't have a second, third receiver. Now you can't have a really nice defense. That's what I'm wondering. But if everyone has those top quarterbacks at the same number, maybe it all cancels out anyway.
Right. I thought guys like Rodgers, you just blank check them, man. That's what you used to tell me, man. You pay those guys what they want. They stay as long as they want. They're above reproach.
This number is getting high now, though. I'll be interested to see what team they could build, not just this year, because I think they will be able to finagle the cap somehow, some way. But maybe year 2, year 3, I'll be interested to see what type of team they could put around them. These are just more thoughts, because at the end of the day, I said I wanted Rodgers on the Steelers if that was actually a real option.
Yeah.
You still do it just because he is that guy. But I'm wondering. I am wondering.
So would
5-10 years, we look back and say these contracts are getting too high.
So seeing what he signed for, knowing that if we would have had to trade for him, we still would have had to do something like that as well. Does that change your perspective on it? Does that make you say, well, I'm glad Pittsburgh did not go out there and acquire him?
You ask me right now, I'd still say, yeah, man, take Rodgers on your team. I do think, though, looking back in 10 years, we might be happy the trade didn't go through because we were able to start actually team building at this point.
All right. Fair enough.
50 is a lot. I thought he was going to come over and we were going to be able to get him on a $30 million cap hit. I wasn't expecting some type of new, extremely big contract like this.
Yeah.
So that's why, the numbers do change where maybe I'm not as gun-ho as I was a week ago about getting Rodgers just because I thought the number was going to be lower if we got him. Because I wasn't as worried about the draft picks. I feel like Denver killed it in that trade for Russell Wilson. And that's how I would have felt for Rodgers if we would have just gave up a couple picks and maybe a player or two. But, man, I'm back and forth with it. If you were to ask me right now, I'm like, I think you just still take Rodgers. You figure it out. You finagle things cap-wise. You're able to pick up some veterans on cheap, and you give yourself a window with Rodgers here in the next few years. But 50 is a lot, I think. 50 is a lot.
Well, the next logical part of this question becomes, what does this mean for Jordan Love? Because a 4-year extension, Jordan Love is no longer a rookie. Timing of his contract ending and Rodgers still being the starting quarterback of the Packers is a little bit, of overlap there.
Wait, what do you think about Rodgers? If you were the Steelers, would you still take him at this number?
For me, yes, for a couple of reasons. Number one, he is a proven commodity. You know what he is. He's won a Super Bowl before. He's coming off of back-to-back MVP seasons. He's still regarded as either the best quarterback or top 2, top 3 right now, currently in the NFL. So you're getting what you're paying for. Those type of guys don't come cheap. Those type of proven commodities where you take the guesswork away. Not let's hope this draft guy can develop. Let's hope that this mid-tier free agent can come in here and grow even more. No. When you bring in Aaron Rodgers, not only are you getting a proven commodity, not only are you getting a proven winner and leader, but you also get the residual income off of that investment because of what? Now you get other free agents that see him, and it's the Tom Brady effect going to Tampa Bay. Guys say, you know what? I'll play for less money to go be with him because he gives me the best chance to win. And to me, that is something that I don't necessarily have an issue paying a little bit extra for, because that's how you get that return on your investment on the back end. Not only do I have my quarterback, but now instead of this guy coming for $5 million, now he might show up for $3 million. Instead of this guy that usually will want 12, he's coming for 9, for 10, all because of Aaron Rodgers. Right now, we don't have that type of guy. We don't have that type of pool. We're in the situation where we need to overpay guys to incentivize them to come here, because we don't have that big draw quarterback where you feel like, hey, we can win with him. It's too much of a question mark right now. So that's the other reason why with Aaron Rodgers, it's like, I hear people making the claim, oh, man, you kill your roster. No, you do not. You're going to improve your roster greatly, and you're going to continue to get free agents that want to come here, that want to play for you because of that guy. And that's the part that a lot of people overlook, just in the sense of, well, that's not how the Steelers do it. No, we're patient. It's easy to be patient when you've had a franchise quarterback the whole time. But as we've seen these past 2 years, when we weren't winning as much as we would have liked to at critical moments, people aren't as patient. We remember 2019 season. I mean, you even brought it up to me. You say, yo, bro, what's up with these fans? People aren't patient in Pittsburgh about losing. And that approach of being patient, I do think could come back and bite them in the butt right now and potentially the next couple of years when you're looking at some of the moves that are being made and some of these bigger name guys being, scooped up.
The one difference between Rodgers and Brady, though, is Brady had literally a cap hit that was half, $25 million. So you could use that $25 million for all those players you talk about. That's why I just wonder if it would even be feasible like that with Rodgers' $50 million. I'm sure they would figure out ways because let's
be real. They're going to make a way. The same way the same way we looked at the Packers situation and said, man, their cap situation is horrendous. They will find a way. They always do.
I was going to say, because they're saying somehow this contract's going to save them at least for this year. But that's what I'm wondering, though, 2-3 years down the road, on the fourth year, if he's still sticking around. Right. Because Pat McAfee also did include in his tweet that Rodgers did seriously consider retiring. Just wanted to let everyone know that.
So if he's considering it to that level, that's the part that, like I said, I was a little
But then it's a 4-year deal, so I don't know.
I'm like, man, those two things don't really add up. Like, if I knew I was about to retire, I would not sign a 4-year extension. 2 years, 3 years max, not 4. But, to each his own, right? To each his own.
Yeah, maybe there's more details that we got to see.
Absolutely. But
you're talking about Jordan Love?
Yeah, what does that mean for Jordan Love now? Because, like I said, he's no longer a rookie. So, based on the length of Rodgers' contract and the remaining on Jordan Love's contract, you're going to have a decision to make before you even know that Rodgers is done or not. So how do you feel about him? I mean, does he become the new hot name to talk about in terms of, do you go to trade for him? Because he fits today's NFL in terms of arm, mobility, has good size on him, but he's very raw. But he's a first-round draft pick, a year, 2 years removed?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Him pertaining to the Steelers, I think he's going to get traded. I definitely do think he's going to get traded. There's no doubt about it.
He will. Mm-hmm.
You got to, because you could at least probably get a 3rd-round pick in return. Mm-hmm. If you're the Steelers, do you consider him? Bro, I'm really from the standpoint of if we weren't going to get Rodgers or Russ, or if we're not going to draft Malik Willis or Deshaun Watson if he's cleared, I don't know if I want to touch the quarterback room right now. Okay. I think we roll with Mason and we build out the team.
So, quick question. You said Malik Willis. Do you think Malik Willis is better than Jordan Love right now?
Problem is, we've seen Jordan Love in the NFL right now. And
no, we saw a small sample size, though.
Well, there's not only that, but I think Green Bay would be a little bit more eager or a little bit more apt to saying, yeah, you know what, we're good. If Rodgers, you want to move on or whatever, we're willing to give the keys to Jordan Love, like they did whenever Favre was waffling back and forth. They're like, we know what we got in Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't seem like they're that high on Jordan Love. So I think the combination of just how he played and then also how the Green Bay Packers view him right now doesn't give me the most confidence in him. Whereas Malik Willis, he has the benefit of we haven't seen him in the NFL just yet.
Oh, Lord. I hear what you're saying. I hear your thought process. I just personally don't agree with it. For me, man, if I had to choose between a Jordan Love and a Malik Willis today, I'm going Jordan Love because he's already been a year in the system. He's already been in the NFL. He already has a taste of some exposure. Whereas with Malik, we don't even know when he would play this season. And when I'm thinking about both of those guys, I say, well, who do I think is a little bit more polished right now? I would have to go Jordan Love. But both of these guys are young. Both of these guys are still projects in the true sense of the name, because Jordan Love still has a lot of development he has to have, but he has the raw talent. But I do think him sitting for a year behind Aaron Rodgers is going to help him greatly. When I think of Malik Willis, man, he's going to come here, but he's sitting behind Mason. No knock on Mason, but I think that you learn more from an Aaron Rodgers type than you do from a Mason Rudolph type. So that's kind of like my feeling with Jordan Love. I do think that he would be a better option than a Malik, but the reason I would not make the trade for him is just because I don't want to give up, a little bit more than I would necessarily need to. And I do think that Green Bay, in a sense, they're going to have multiple teams trying to acquire Jordan Love. So we know when it starts becoming a bidding war, now teams that have a little bit more draft capital, they're a little bit more eager to throw those picks in there. And that's for me why I would not want to do that for Jordan Love, because he has not proven to that level just yet.
the case for it is him just going for a 3rd-round pick potentially. Like if you were talking in your mock draft about taking Carson Strong in the 3rd round.
If you're getting it for the 3rd round, that's different. I just don't know if Green Bay is giving him up for a 3rd-round pick. That's my part. That's where I'm saying to myself, okay, does it take a 1? Does it take a 2? Like is it multiple picks? Like what's the situation for that? Because like I said, he is a high pedigree guy. He was a 1st-round draft pick for a reason. I just don't see them giving him up for just one mid-round pick when he's still on a rookie deal and he is essentially the new prototype for quarterback in the NFL today.
Yeah. So I think his stock could go up as time goes on because the quarterback situation for a bunch of these teams is going to play out, whether it's free agency, then draft. Like I could see him going on draft day actually.
Oh no, absolutely.
Like if there's teams like us or the Saints that see all of a sudden Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Matt Corral go in the top 15 and they're sitting there like, man, maybe we could still get a 1st-round guy. It's just that he was taken in the 1st round a couple years back.
Or they're looking at
trade
him,
a 2nd-round pick for Jordan Love.
Right. Or they're looking at him saying, man, why take a Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis or Matt Corral when Jordan Love is already a year or 2 ahead of those guys because he's already been in the NFL.
He might be younger than Pickett too.
Yeah, so it's like, why not? And I can see a team potentially saying, hey, instead of drafting one of these guys coming out that we all have had our concerns about, let's just go with this guy. I can see that being the case as well, man, just because, like you said, he is young, but he fits today's NFL. He is the new prototype, no different than a Trey Lance or even a Justin Fields for an example.
Yeah, if it does play out. Am I wrong in thinking, like, I'm just more higher on Malik Willis as a prospect than I was Jordan Love? I wasn't high on him that much, really.
But that's because we weren't really in the quarterback market, so none of us really cared enough to break him down and overanalyze him to the point of, all right, we think he's bad. Now we think he's decent. Now we think he's good. Now he's a 1st-round pick. That's what we've all done with Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, Sam Howell, Matt Corral. At some point in time, all of us have been like, nah, this guy's not 1st-round talent. Oh, this guy doesn't change the franchise. Oh, I don't want that guy at all. Then it was, hey, man, I think this guy's kind of good. I think he's a player. And now it's, hey, man, we need this guy in the 1st round. Then it's, oh, man, these guys might be going to the top 10. We just weren't hypersensitive to those quarterbacks like that because for us, we always have been. And we know for sure you weren't caring about any other quarterback outside of Ben. So
I thought Green Bay was
that's the biggest reason.
Love.
Absolutely. So I think that's the biggest reason why this whole Jordan Love situation was like that. And why what was our thoughts on him? We didn't have thoughts on him. We only cared about, okay, we're going to talk Trevor Lawrence because he's the big name. We'll talk to some of these other quarterbacks during that time frame that were the big name. And obviously, Trevor Lawrence was a year after him, But it was like, man, we just didn't have a need. We didn't have that need. So it's like, why would we be spending a ton of time talking about the 2nd or 3rd best quarterback in that draft when we didn't even need a quarterback in that draft? And that's the biggest thing that I think.
A lot of people are trying to compare him to Mahomes, too, which was kind of getting ridiculous at that time. I mean, he's obviously he's not going to be Mahomes. Whereas Malik Willis, I mean, there's not really much comps to him. But what he does have is that explosiveness that Jordan Love didn't really have like that. I mean, Jordan Love had the arm talent, but man, like I just that's why I like Malik Willis too, though. Like, we could bring him in and we could win with his legs at least. I think rookie year.
But he's not going to play his rookie year. I don't see him beating on Mason.
I don't think he is either. That's the thing that's frustrating, though. As much as I say I want to take Malik Willis, I do think he'll sit behind Mason Rudolph, which will make it a waste of a pick, which sucks. If I'm the GM, he's starting day one.
Yeah. That's my only thing, man. I don't feel like those guys are going to drastically move this needle for this year. And with Jordan Love, honestly, I mean, even though I feel more confident in him than Malik and Kenny and this classic quarterback, I still don't even know if he's that guy just yet because we have not seen it from him.
It's the same thought process. Yeah, it's not even necessarily about Jordan Love. It's about just bringing in a unproven quarterback at this point and what that's going to cost us. So with Jordan Love, that might cost us a 2nd-round pick, a 3rd-round pick. Would we rather spend that on an offensive lineman or another position on defense, something like that? Maybe. I mean, because it's just like, how much better is he going to be than Mason? He has more upside, obviously. And it's the same thing with Malik Willis and probably the same thing with Kenny Pickett. But are they going to play immediately? And if we're talking about actually competing this year, how much does that really help us?
Yeah. Well, And what do you think about Jordan Love's size, though, compared to Malik? Because we know Malik is a shorter quarterback.
Yeah, he does have the prototypes,
That's
man.
What I'm saying.
Definitely does.
So in terms of the risk-reward element, it is a little bit less risk with the Jordan Love because he has a ton of these other prerequisites already. Whereas with Malik, the thing that stands out is what? The athletic ability. And then he has a cannon for an arm. But we said, man, he got to get better with his footwork. He has to get better in terms of releasing that ball a little bit sooner and just reading the plays faster and processing them. A lot of things that we talk about with young quarterbacks. But he's going to be multiple years behind Jordan Love in that development because he was still in college. Whereas Jordan was behind Aaron Rodgers. He was in meetings with Aaron Rodgers. I don't care if Aaron Rodgers doesn't even speak to you. You're going to learn just by being in the building with him. Just by being in meetings with him every single day, you're going to pick up stuff. You're going to see how he sees the field. And that is going to help his development. So that's the other reason why it's like, I do think that Jordan is just a little bit safer, but still risk because he still has to prove it.
Third round, you like the move?
Yeah, if you're getting for a second or third round pick, man, I absolutely love it. Because, like you said, you know how I had it mocked up, whereas like Carson Strong was in my third. But yeah, if I'm looking at Jordan, I'm like, yeah, give me Jordan the third all day because I think that he would still be viewed as the best quarterback if he was coming out this year or one of the best quarterbacks if he was coming out this year. I just personally feel like that. I understand that Kenny had the numbers, but when we're talking prototypical size, when we're talking about NFL ready and, you know, that perfect blend, Jordan is that guy. He is. That's just the nature of it.
I would say worst case scenario, he'd be in the mix with these quarterbacks.
Okay.
So he'd be being talked about in the first round. Mm-hmm. But if you're telling me you're getting him for a second or third rounder, then that's where the value is. Mm-hmm. Because you're taking Pickett in the first round. You're taking Corral in the first round, Willis in the first round. Whereas, yeah, you could get a first round talent for a second or third round pick. Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense to me. It really does. Mm-hmm. But part of me just wondered, I don't know if he's even better than Mason Rudolph right now.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, hell, Dwayne Haskins for that fact, even.
Mm-hmm. Well, either way, we're going to get a chance to figure it out, though. Because the way the Steelers are moving right now, they're going to give us ample opportunity for those guys to get evaluated. But that's just kind of, you know, where I'm at with Jordan Love. Like I said, I think he would be the more intriguing prospect to me of these draft picks. But I'm not in a rush to go bring in Jordan Love because he still has a lot to prove. Yeah.
See how it plays out.
Absolutely.
See how the whole quarterback landscape plays out too. Yeah. Because I don't think, what's going to happen first? I'm assuming the free agent quarterbacks will be signed, and then the Jordan Love trade talks will start taking place closer to the draft, maybe even draft it. That's how I'm assuming.
Because
you don't think they're going to be quick to move
needy? Well, no, because you got to think the teams that are quarterback needy, they're going to obviously be trying to acquire these free agents that are out there. And if they realize, hey, man, we can't get these free agent QBs, they're not, you know, somebody signed here or they signed there instead. Well, the next thing is, all right, how do you feel about your draft positioning? And you're looking at the board and saying, who needs a quarterback up here that didn't get one in free agency? Who needs a quarterback up here that, you know, is picking in front of us? And now you have to figure out, what do I have to give up to move in front of them? And you might just be viewing it like, man, do I really want to give up, you know, multiple pieces or something like that to move, you know, up 5 spots or move up 10 spots for Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis? Not everybody's going to feel that way. Not everybody feels that strongly about them. Whereas they can say, well, Jordan Love, man, he's already been in the NFL. I think he's a little bit more proven. I think he's a little bit more ahead of his game in terms of development. And he has the prototypical size. He has the speed. He has the arm strength. And they would rather just do that. So that's where I can see, you know, him potentially being moved more so on draft day than beforehand, because I think that there's still, you know, some free agents out here that teams are going to feel confident in just because they're further along in their development. No different when we talk about Mitch Trubisky or Marcus Mariota. It's like those guys still aren't solidified as, man, we feel confident, but what we are saying is, man, we've seen their development enough that, hey, it's like, all right, he looks like a more sure thing. Whereas with Jordan, I just think Jordan is a little bit more of a sure thing than a Kenny Pickett and a Malik Willis and Matt Corral and such, because he's already been in this system. He's already been developing. Whereas those guys are going to be coming from college, and they already aren't even viewed as the best talent in their class. Like, it's one thing when we're talking about, oh, he's a first-round talent. He's a first-round talent because of the quarterback position. But when you're talking about overall big board best players available, we're not talking about Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis as if they're better than some of these other guys we've been referring to. We're just saying that, hey, man, because the quarterback need is so heavy, that's why you take those guys earlier, even though we don't think that they're even, better prospects than 10 to 15 of these other guys.
Yeah. What do you want to go to next?
I think we got a couple supers, man. Let's hit those real quick. Yeah.
Okay. I got Mr. B. Malarkey in the upper room. I don't know if I'm a little lost there.
Hey, no, you're good. That's perfect, man. Mr. B. Malarkey. First off, we appreciate you, baby. Welcome to the family. But more importantly, Mr. B. Malarkey, welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, baby. Always appreciate your support for the channel, man. We definitely do, man. Helps us keep this thing rolling the way it needs to. And we're going to keep it going. All right.
Farron Bradford says, all this money Green Bay spending. Let Jair hit the market in 2023. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, that's going to be the interesting thing. I don't know who they're all going to be able to keep. I mean, they just tagged Devontae Adams, which is a good deal for them because you're paying, I think I was looking at the number between 18 or 20 million, and he was probably trying to get an upwards of 25 a year for, 4 or 5 years. So you're only paying him that for a year. But at some point, I'm assuming if Rodgers plays out his contract, you're going to want to try to re-sign Devontae Adams too.
Yeah.
Alexander being a top 5 cornerback in the league. I'll be interested to see how they can maneuver all of it.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting, man. They go, hey, hope their cat wizard puts on that hat and make it all work out for him, man.
Let's go, UW. Watson, assuming he's cleared, is the only real option in terms of a big free agent quarterback, and I would only be okay with him because of Watson's age being younger. I'm with him. Like, if he's cleared, that's probably the only free agent quarterback that I'd want to be seriously talking about. Everyone else, it feels like just competition for Mason. Jameis Winston, maybe listen, not. But
we'll talk about that in a second. We ain't got to rush. We'll get to that in a second, baby. Absolutely.
All right, we got – that was Let's Go UW. And we got Jared Kraft. I believe we need the most NFL-ready quarterback. I don't care where we get one. What about Van Noy or Bobby Wagner?
We're going to talk about that in a little bit as well, man. I definitely like that convo between Van Noy and Wagner, though. We can rap about that. We'll definitely rap about that. Hi, all righty. Yeah, but say, yeah, y'all reading our minds over here. Let's get it. So, yeah, let's start. We'll go to this next topic real quick so that way we can get right into where we need to with that topic that you were already breaking down a little bit in terms of these available quarterbacks and, who we like to go for and stuff like that. But
sure.
Reaction, and obviously this is to the Russell Wilson trade, man. Hefty price for Russell Wilson. Denver Broncos, they traded away Drew Lock, Shelby Harris, their defensive tackle, and Noah Fant, along with 2 first-round draft picks, 2 second-round draft picks. I believe it was a 3rd and a 6th, if I remember correctly. Could be a little off on those last two.
Hold on. I could look it up. I could get it exact. It was, I think it was 2 first, 2 second.
2 first, 2 second, definitely.
A 5th, Noah Fant, Drew Lock, and Shelby Harris. I'll confirm that, though. I think I got it pulled up right here. ESPN. No. Yeah, this is ESPN. Mm-hmm. Get 3 players, picks, agree to sources. 2 first, 2 seconds, 5th. Yeah, plus those extra
and then those
players.
3 players. Okay.
It was to Wilson. It was for Wilson, then a 4th-round pick as well, 2022 4th-round pick.
Absolutely. But very, very hefty price. That was my initial reaction to it. But at the same time, I said, you pay that price for that type of quarterback. He's a proven commodity. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's a proven leader, and he is definitely a force multiplier. But more importantly, no different than what I just said about Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson is going to draw free agents. Russell Wilson is going to make that guy that could probably go out there and get $2 to $3 more million, maybe take $2 to $3 million less just to go play with him because he gives them a legitimate chance to win a Super Bowl. If you're Denver, I don't see how you're not excited about it. I mean, does it suck giving up Noah Fant? Absolutely. Shelby Harris? Absolutely. He's a daggone good player as well. But when you're talking about bringing in Russell Wilson, he's that type of guy. He's that type of guy that when you look at him with that defense that they already have out there, you say, man, this is legit right here. He is different than a Teddy Bridgewater. He's way different than a Drew Lock. And I do believe that, like I said, man, with free agency coming up, guys are going to want to go to Denver to play with him. And I don't blame them. I really don't, man.
Yeah, I think Denver killed it in this trade. I think they really won. Yeah, you bringing in Russell Wilson. You already have a pretty nice team around you. Yeah. You lose Fant and you lose Shelby Harris. Are you kidding me, bro? Like, those dudes got those
young receivers. Think about those young receivers, dude. Think about the receivers they already have out there. That's my thing. I'm like, yo, he has weapons.
Well, not only that, I mean, they could draft a dude in the 3rd or 4th round as a tight end this year, or they could even just stick with who they have. I wouldn't be surprised if they puts up the same exact numbers as Noah Fant, as long as they stay healthy, because think of how many no-name tight ends Russell Wilson has made relevant out in Seattle. Absolutely. And Shelby Harris, leader for the defense, this and that, but at the same time, I mean, he's replaceable. I mean, I don't think you're going to be complaining too much about Shelby Harris if Von Miller comes back to your team.
Right.
I know they play different positions, but you could probably even pick up another dude just like him. Like you said, veterans are going to be signing in Denver for X amount less just because Russell Wilson's there.
Bradley Chubb out there. Bradley Chubb is still a really good player in his own self.
Yeah, because the way I view it, the 2 first-round picks, that was just automatically going to be part of the deal.
Yeah.
You're giving up Drew Lock for sure, no matter what, because he's not going to be playing for you. Noah Fant, as I just mentioned, you could replace him. Shelby Harris, you could replace him. And then the 2 second-round picks, bro, they got one of those in the Von Miller trade, and they also got a 3rd-round pick in that Von Miller trade too, which is not that much of a difference between the 2nd and 3rd round. So you're not stressing about those 2 second-round picks either.
Yeah,
I think it was a great deal for Denver.
Yeah, and now you have the biggest piece of the puzzle. You have that solved. The franchise quarterback. That's the biggest reason why even in Pittsburgh we could say, it didn't matter who we were drafting necessarily, because when you have the franchise quarterback, you're always going to be all right. You're always going to have a legitimate chance. And that's what Denver just did now. They changed the game. Now, we know they play in a conference or even in a division where, it's a gauntlet. But let's not act like the AFC North isn't flirting with that as well. You got a regular season MVP in Lamar Jackson. You got a day going Joe Burrow, who just took his team to a Super Bowl. It's like, man, you already can see we're one more quarterback away from having our division looking like, whoa, all right, y'all pretty stacked right now. So I don't think that Russ would fear going to the AFC West. Why should he? He didn't fear anybody. He's Russell Wilson. And that's for me, man, why I look at this and I just say, man, Denver, like, I applaud him. Low-key jealous. Like, man.
Yeah, it was a great move.
Yeah.
That was a great move.
Now, to bring it back to Pittsburgh, if that was what we were having to give up, and our 3 players happened to be Mason Rudolph, regular Stephon Tuitt, not Tuitt that was sitting out for a year, but regular Stephon Tuitt, and say Pat Freiermuth, would you have been willing to do that same deal with those 3 players to bring Russ to Pittsburgh?
2 firsts and then 2 seconds. I mean, part of me says you just do it. Other part of me thinks, though, we are in a little bit of a different situation than Denver because Denver's team's more set around them. Man, but part of me thinks you just make the deal. I do think Fryman is going to be better than Fanta. That's the other thing.
Yeah, but
I think he's going to be way more of a stud.
We're still thinking, but as of today, Noah Fant is the better player. Noah Fant is the proven player today.
Not by much.
Yeah,
I don't think it's by that much.
Much?
I don't think. No.
Come on.
I mean, Fryman had 8 touchdowns last year, and we didn't feature him as much.
Don't you do that now. We can say that we think he has the ability to be better, but we're not going to say that Noah Fant isn't here compared to Pat Freiermuth right now. This is March 9th. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's by much.
I like the optimism around Pat. I do think it is, though, right now. I think that Pat is going to have to continue to develop. I already seen Noah Fant do what he can do in the NFL consistently and be featured at times. That's all I'm saying. Pat can get to that, but we're not going to say that today Pat is so close to where Noah is right now. I just don't agree with that, man.
That's the one I actually would be most frustrated giving up is Freiermuth.
Oh, no, I would as well, though. Absolutely. Because
out of those
a crazy young talent. But is Pat Freiermuth going to be a difference maker in the way that a Russell Wilson is?
Yeah, that's what part of me is just like, I think you make the move. Yeah. The interesting part is what's his next contract? Because I think he's going to be re-signing after this season. Actually, he might even.
Different.
They might even try to make a deal before this season starts with them, because that's going to take up the cap hit. Yeah, part of me thinks you just do it, because I think he's going to be taking care of his body. He's saying that he wants to play till he's 45.
Yeah.
So, all of a sudden you're back relevant again for – I think we're going to be relevant this year. But, you're like legitimate super contenders with Russell Wilson at quarterback.
Yeah. Well, and I know we say we're going to continue to be relevant. I just asked myself, though, man, does Mason give you enough to keep up with another arm in the AFC?
All we need with him is 1 year, in my opinion, to find that out. Because if he can go out here and throw for 25 to 30 touchdowns, 10 or less picks, man, he's a huge bargain this deal. If the Steelers believe he can do that, that's why I don't really like the idea of getting any of these other quarterbacks outside of a Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, because at $5 million bucks, that is a huge value.
True, but do you believe
I'm going to leave the door open. I'm going to use a Tomlin and leave the light on. Do you believe he can do it? I'm talking myself into it, dude. I really am.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. I like your optimism. I do. For me, I don't believe that it's a high probability. I hope he develops into that. I just don't believe it's as high of a probability. But hey, he could easily go out there and do that. Or even Dwayne Haskins, because he is the guy that we continue to forget about whenever we talk QB conversations, right? And not just us. I mean, this is a lot of fans right now. It's like, it's Mason. But we still have Haskins here as well. So that is – but yeah, I'm not as confident that either one is coming out and giving me 20-10 or 30-10. You know, either one of them. They're definitely not 30. 20-10, sure. Not 30.
2010, that's got to be cool. That needs to happen.
2010, that has to be like base level starting QB.
Oh, dude, if that happens, we got to move on. We got to move on. That's what I mean.
I'm going to say, gosh.
Whenever I bring up staying relevant, if he does go 2010, we're not going to be thrilled about that. But I still think we're 9-8 or whatever. We're in the mix.
Yeah.
But dude, if he throws for 25-10 or 30-10,
right, that's
$5 million bucks.
That's different.
That's why that's such a better deal than Aaron Rodgers. As much as we talk about bringing in Rodgers or bringing in a Rush, if their cap hits are going to be that much, and Mason proves a lot of us wrong, then I mean that's a huge deal. We only need 1 year for that, though.
My thing is, where did this optimism of Mason being able to throw 25 and 30 tutties and only have 10 picks come from? That's all. Like that.
I think it's the Steelers. I'm starting to talk myself in. If the Steelers are willing to do this, man, if they believe in him that much, why not? I think he can keep it clean. He did for the most part.
Yeah, true.
In that 2019 season, outside of that Browns game where he threw 4 picks,
but he kept it clean. But he kept it clean because he was super conservative.
He hasn't been like that the last couple of times we've seen him.
True,
so maybe I'm just going off that. Maybe I'm going off that.
But that's all I'm saying. I'm like, man, you're mixing. Okay, the conservative Mason where he didn't turn the ball over, but he wasn't pressing the ball downfield or pushing the ball downfield, to now we're like, oh yeah, man, he can push it downfield and he's not going to have turnovers. We know the more you get aggressive with that ball, the more you take chances, turnovers happen. It's that simple. I just don't believe that right now he's developed to that level of being able to throw for 30 of those things or 25 of those touchdowns and still keep that interception level, that number at 10. I just do not see that right now, man.
Could this be a bet? Could we do an over-under bet as the season gets closer for Mason touchdowns? Well, if he's the starter.
If Mason's we got to see if he's the starter. If he's the starter, that's different.
27, 28. Oh.
Yeah. If he's not the starter, though, what are we talking about? You know, that's my thing. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's a fair competition. That's what I want to see, too. Because we didn't feel like we saw that last preseason. Yeah. Where were we at with all this? We were talking about Mason there. Where did we go? Was this even a top? We were talking about Russell Wilson.
Yeah, because essentially all we're saying is this, man, in the sense of what they had to give up to acquire Russell. We have done that. And then you kind of said that, man, you think that we can get better value of Mason as long as he can go for 25 or 30 touchdowns with 10 picks. I said, man.
Oh, if he does that, it is better value.
But let's be real. Dudes ain't just showing up throwing for 25, 30 touchdowns, only 10 picks. Where have we seen Mason look anything close to that? That's all I'm saying.
If Wentz could do it last year.
No. Wentz is a far better talent than Mason. Wentz is a more proven player than Mason. Wentz was in an MVP conversation, led his team to a legit playoff berth. Let's be real. We can't say Mason has done that. We cannot say that at all.
This is part of the game, dude. You got to make projections on this shit. You have to. It's part of the game.
No. Part of the game, sure. But at the same time, you have to be realistic. And to try to say that Mason Rudolph is here with Carson Wentz, just hear that. Just hear what you just said. Mason.
Well, Wentz's stock was terribly low before going to the Colts. I mean, he had one of the worst quarterback seasons for a starter in a while.
All I'm saying is
27-7. That was a huge thing for him.
Mason Rudolph hasn't done anything to be in the Carson Wentz conversation just yet. That's all. That's just how I feel about it, man.
Back to the Russell Wilson thing, though. Part of me thinks you just do it, though.
Yeah.
But why I brought up Mason is just like if he performs, like
if he does that, now
he's a huge value. Yeah. He's a huge value for us this year at $5 million.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, if he
does
it,
sucks. I don't know why I'm like he's the one guy I don't want to be giving up in that trade though. He's like my hang up. Can we throw in someone else? Can we sign Ebron and trade him?
Oh my god.
Devin Bush?
Oh wow.
Devin Bush, we might be able to throw him in. Actually, that would make sense. The Seahawks, they'd be trying to build up their defense. It could be Devin Bush, Stephon Tuitt, Mason Rudolph, and those picks. I would do that in a heartbeat. I don't know why I'm getting hung up on Prime. I think he's gonna be a stud.
Listen, maybe they want to build up their team through the draft with their players. Maybe they don't want to go and say, "Can I get your used goods?" and see if we can bring it back to life. Maybe they can say, I just go draft my own guy. I'm cool on Devin. That's all.
You making it? I think you do it. I think you. I don't feel good about it.
I absolutely would, man. Yeah. Whew. Let me think. Yeah, I'm definitely making it. I am. Because like I said, I just think that he is the force multiplier. He is the guy that is going to draw other guys to come to this team. You talk about, it's the Steelers, and we understand that the Steelers, in terms of branding, typically was a big draw. But it was a big draw because you had Ben Roethlisberger. You had that piece in place. So now you have the quarterback with this legacy, with this history, with the coach that a lot of players love. A lot of players can relate to him. You have guys on defense that you feel like give you legitimate chances to win. In terms of TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, Minkah Fitzpatrick. And you say, you know what? I'll take less to come because Russ is there. That's the biggest reason why I say, yes, you do that trade if it was available to you. But we shall see, man, how this thing goes, though, baby. We shall definitely see. All right, so let's go ahead and hit this third topic because it's going to be right in line with this in turn. Well, actually, no. Hit the supers first, and then we'll go to that third topic. Now that I think about it.
Okay. We got.
You should be at
Sean 0989. Just giving us some support. His message retracted.
We definitely appreciate the love, man. We definitely do.
Dave Shipley for later, but Moats, what's the craziest question you had at the combine?
Oh, actually, I do remember this one. Craziest question that I had. I wasn't doing one of the formal team interviews. It was an informal interview, but I was talking to the Washington Commanders, formerly known as the other name. All right. And in this conversation, the guy's talking to me and he's like, man, if we were to draft you, how do you feel about a Brian Orakpo? And I was like, well, I respect Brian. He's ahead of me. Think he's a really good player, former first-round draft pick. Like, nothing but respect for him. He's like, so if Brian, you come in on that first day, you sit in the front row, and Brian says, that's my seat, what are you going to do? I was like, well, that's the veteran. I'm just going to move and go sit in another seat. It's that simple. It's like, wow, so you're just scared of Brian? You're not going to try to, stand up for yourself? And I was like, it's a seat. He's the veteran. That's just how the hierarchy goes. I played football. I've done this for a while. This is, coming out of high school and college, like whoever's the vet, they choose where they sit. Everybody else, you kind of fall in line. He's like, well, but we're looking for guys that aren't afraid of anybody, guys that are tough, guys that are willing to go at it. And I'm like, so what, you want me to fight Brian Orakpo over a chair? He's like, well, I ain't say all that now. How far you want to go? I'm like, well, what do you say? And he's like, well, this is Brian Orakpo, and I get that, but shouldn't you be challenging him? Shouldn't you be trying to prove that you're, the guy here? And I'm like, yeah, but this is a chair. It's like, I'm not about to fight this dude over no daggone chair. What's that got to do with anything? And he was just literally, for 20 minutes, just going back and forth in a circle about if I should get up to fight Brian Arakpo for this seat, or if I'm, not trying to be competitive and I want to turn it down because I'm just willing to move out of the seat for the veteran. It was the craziest thing. I'm just like, what are we even talking about? Sometimes the guy looks at me like, bro, how did we get here in this conversation? That's how I felt when he was asking me this round the circus. So you're not going to sit down. So you would sit down. So then would you move? So would you not move? I'm like, bro, stop it. Leave me alone. Okay? Leave me alone. And then I was really actually happy that I did not get drafted there because I'm like, yo, if that's what y'all asking, bro, I don't want no parts of that.
Yeah, and you see how everything played out there these last many years.
Bro. Exactly. But that was for me the craziest thing that I was asked while I was at the combine. I was like, bro.
That's not terrible.
Like, what? But you're just thinking, right? Because everything that you're talking about at the combine is serious typically. They're asking me, man, we heard about this happening back in high school. We heard about you getting kicked out of school in middle school. And you're like, bro, why do you know this? And why are we talking about this? It's like, yeah, man, what about, this young lady here? And it was like, bro, whoa, wait, time out. What do you know too much about me? So you didn't
consider that stuff weirder than the chair question?
No, because you say to yourself, man, you know that they're going to evaluate you. They even tell us how they would scheme it up. Like going into training for, when I left to go to New Jersey to start training for the combine and the draft and stuff, they were like, listen, and this is when Facebook was still, I don't even think it had transitioned to non-college students being able to have Facebook accounts. The guy was like, yo, if you start getting random friend requests from these like gorgeous women that you do not know, do not accept it because it's essentially an NFL spy. Like that's what they're doing. They're trying to get them on your page so they can get all your information. And then they just feed it back. So a lot of guys were getting got like that. It was like, oh man, she looked good. And you think, man, the guy's 21, 22. You're like, oh yeah, accept. And then you just start rapping with it. It's like, nah, I don't do that. So for me, I wasn't surprised at some of that info. I'm like, yeah, man, I might have, during that time frames before I met my wife, before I met wifey. Okay, just throwing that out there. I don't want no problems, Love you, babe. We ain't tripping. But before then, it was like, yeah, I might have accepted one or two or a couple. And it was like, huh. And I started thinking, I'm like, oh, so you mean to tell me I might have got? Oh. It was one of those feelings. So I wasn't really surprised to hear them bring up some of the personal stuff that was obviously on my social media pages back then. But to hear a guy ask me, am I going to fight a guy for a seat? To me, it just logically didn't make sense. I'm like, what does this chair signify? Because to me, it's just a chair. Me sitting in front of him, to the right of him, to the left of him, or even to the behind of him, that's not going to make me a better player. That's not going to help me win games. So that was why for me, I just like, why are we wasting time talking about this when you should be evaluating me in terms of what do I know as a football player, what my character is and things like that. I just wasn't a fan of the roundabout just dumbness of said question. So yes.
Yeah, they were just trolling you.
It just seems so dumb. I'm like, yo, you're wasting my time. Like, why are we doing this? Are you done? Are you finished? Are you done? Like, that's how I was up with them.
They gave you that Manti Te'o treatment on Facebook.
Dude. Yeah, it was nuts, bro. It was nuts.
Sending you the burner.
All right, bro. We was over here like, oh. And then they started showing pictures, and we're like, she does look familiar. It was like a whole lineup, though. It was like 20. It's like 20 to 30 of these, like, yeah. Pick your variety. It was crazy. It's crazy.
Sean 0989 coming back to it says, love Big Ben, but I wish we had thrown Haskins out there for at least a game or two last season so we'd have a better gauge on him right now.
Uh-oh. I'll let Deke respond to this one.
Nah, man. Ben's the guy. I don't think it's anything crazy. You stick with him. We made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we were about.
Yeah, man. This is true.
That's what I think. I mean,
this is true.
Here's the problem with Haskins is like he wasn't even dressing either. Like we had Mason at quarterback too. So if you're gonna do something like that, it would have just been Mason.
Very true. Very true.
That's not necessarily our opinion or not, because that was how the team seeing what Haskins has maybe would have been more telling, just because I feel like he has more upside.
Yeah.
But no, not last year. I mean, we're in the playoff mix, man. You try to win playoff games. Or try to win games to get into the playoffs, and try to win playoff games, which we couldn't accomplish against the Chiefs.
Yeah. All right. Though we good. So yeah, let's get to this third topic, because this is the perfect transition right here. Now that we have two big quarterback names removed off this, list, let's go back and reassess. These quarterbacks that are available legitimately through free agency, some of these quarterbacks that are available potentially in the draft. Let's read off the names, and then from there, man, let's, decide who we would want or not want in a sense,
Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
Jameis Winston. Marcus Mariota. Mitchell Trubisky. This is from an NFL.com article anyway. This is by David Carr. He's writing his top 10 quarterbacks that are available right now. Yep. Kenny Pickett. Malik Willis. Jimmy G. Matt Corral. Teddy B. Desmond Ridder. And then he also has in the Ridder paragraph, he mentions Carson Wentz.
Okay. So how do you feel about that then? Any name jump off the board that you say, this is definitely a guy that I would want here?
It's only Deshaun Watson, if cleared.
Okay.
And problem with him, though, is obviously maybe some of the off-the-field stuff in terms of how he's reported on and just what goes on with bringing him in. Is that worth it? I mean, probably. I mean, his play is going to definitely show out, for sure.
Very true.
Plus
and
the
he's
cap
very young as well, man. He's very young.
Listen, I feel the same way about Russell Wilson with Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
Because with Russ, because I was going to say, the plus for Deshaun Watson, both like franchise QBs, right?
Yeah.
The plus with Deshaun Watson is his age. The plus with Russell Wilson is he doesn't have the off-field stuff like Deshaun Watson. The negative on both of theirs is just the cap hit. So maybe I'm just not as eager as I mentioned with Russell Wilson, even like trading for him. If Mason Rudolph can go 25-10, can have a really good season, like the value's there with Mason. Whereas trading for Deshaun Watson, having that cap hit and stuff, I think we can have a good season with Mason. He's the one guy, though. Outside of him, it's Malik Willis just because I like him. I want us to draft him. I think he's got a ton of potential. And I think if we started him right off the bat, which is I'm not sure if we do or not,
right,
we could win games with him. I think he has that pop to him. But outside of that, I don't really want any of these quarterbacks that bad. I mean, Jameis Winston, you could talk me into because you can maybe get him on the cheap for $10 million and he could be your quarterback one right off the way. But then I think you got to get rid of Mason. Like, you got to get rid of that contract. So maybe we could spread that money out amongst the team.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Yeah, for me, man, Deshaun Watson, obviously, he's number one. If, everything is cleared, and the real thing is the timing of it. When does that happen? Because I'm not making any type of move until I know he's cleared. I just can't do it. Morally, I can't do it, man. And then from a business perspective, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to take that chance, knowing what you're going to have to leverage for him for it just to come back and bite you in the butt if he is proven guilty in any of these situations, man. Like I said, it's a lot of them. It's 22 of them that he has to beat. So that's the only hesitant. That's the only thing that makes me a little hesitant with Deshaun. But Jameis, I'm all for him. I've told you that, anytime we've talked about him coming to Pittsburgh, you look at what he looked like this past season before he got hurt. He was looking really good. He had that Saints offense looking really good. His numbers, touchdown to interception ratio, was really good because he's already proven, unlike Mason, that he can throw for 30 tutties. He's already proven, unlike Mason, he could throw for 5,000 passing yards. But he also proved that, hey, he can have 30 picks, but now learn from that and drastically decrease that, which we've seen. We just haven't seen Mason prove that he can even reach a peak of where Jameis has reached just yet. And that to me is why I'm just not as confident in Mason. But it's those two guys for me. I'm cool on Mitch Trubisky. Yeah, Jimmy G, especially now with the surgery. I don't want to touch that. Carson Wentz, I think that and we talked about him. I like him for the right number. But if Mitch Trubisky is going to get some of the stuff that we're seeing reported for him, I can only imagine I can only imagine what Carson Wentz is going to be trying to demand. And he has been too inconsistent to this stage in his career for me to feel comfortable paying him that money because he is not going to draw free agents in to that same extent, like a Deshaun Watson or like a Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers type. So I don't want to pay that much for a guy that I'm skeptical on in a sense, and he's not going to have the residual income coming off of that move either. Whereas with Jameis, he's going to be cheap. He's coming off of ACL, but he's already running. He's already on schedule in terms of his recovery. That just makes me feel a lot better about him. And like I said, he has the size. He's a proven leader. He checks off a ton of boxes. And that's why for me, it's like, man, I would definitely go him next in line if it wasn't Deshaun Watson. But if it's not either one of those guys, then yeah, I'm cool either drafting a guy or rolling with Mason. But my concern is this. We keep saying it's a 1 year. Oh, yeah, we'll let Mason try out this year. Okay. And if he fails, now you go to next year. Now we're back in the same boat asking ourselves, well, hey, we don't think that we're going to be the worst team in the NFL, even with Mason Rudolph. So now you're going to be saying, what do we have to give up to move up in a draft for a CJ Stroud, for a Bryce Young? And even with those caliber guys, as we've seen in the past couple of years with top draft picks, it's no guarantee they come in and they're the guy day one, that they're the proven winner day one. We're still trying to see what Tua Tagovailoa is. We're still going to have to look and see how Trevor Lawrence rebounds from this past season. We talked about a Josh Rosen being a top 10 pick. We talked about a Daniel Jones, even Dwayne Haskins.
It's 50-50. Yeah.
Exactly. So for me, that's why I don't get as excited about, we'll just keep waiting. We'll draft that guy the following year. Okay, because that following year turns to the year after that, and the year after that. Before you know, you're looking up like, bro, how did all these years pass by and we went from being relevant, we went from being always in the mix to now we're left behind? Because the AFC, like you said, is not getting any easier. We got a lot of arm talent in the AFC, a lot of it, even in our division. I don't want us to be the ones on the outside looking in. Like, man, we got all these pieces, but we don't never have that dog to go, outduel that guy over there. And I know if you're in San Fran, you probably think that. How many times you're like, man, we got all these pieces, but we got a good quarterback, but we don't have a guy. We don't have a guy that can go outduel those guys over there. He's good, but he can't outduel that. He can't outduel that. That's the part for me where I'm just like, do I really want to feel like that? Do I really want to go in the game and say, hey, we got to be perfect on defense to win? Or do I want a margin of error because I know I got a quarterback that regardless of the score, he's always going to give us a chance to win? For me, especially knowing how the rules are, it's a lot easier to win with the quarterback in place than it is having a perfect defense. We talked about the Buffalo Bills, right? Highly rated defense. Saw what that looked like at times, all right? We can go down the list of all these teams that statistically have elite defenses. But we know elite quarterback play beats elite defense play in today's NFL. So that's my only thing. That's why for me, it's like, man, I'm not as patient with that, but more so because I've had to experience it. We know Steelers fans, especially in this age group, y'all have never had to experience that. So your confidence in, oh, well, man, last time we did this, we had to get a quarterback, it worked out. Well, last time it was Ben Roethlisberger. None of these guys coming out of Ben Roethlisberger. Well, no,
that took about 20 years, though. I mean, that was before my time, but after Terry Bradshaw had a chance at Marino, passed on him. I think they could have even traded for Joe Montana around that time. He was aging. That never happened. And, yeah, we went through, like, Neil O'Donnell, who was pretty good, but then a bunch of just forgettable quarterbacks. They're memorable within Steeler Nation, though, like Bubby Brister, Mark Malone, and Mike Tom, like a bunch of those guys. We had good teams, though, in the 80s and 90s. It's just, we couldn't really get over the hump because of that.
And that is the reality of it. So when I say, okay, we beef up the defense, do I think Mason outduels a Justin Herbert? No. We beef up the defense. Do I think Mason Rudolph outduels a Joe Burrow? No. Do I think Mason Rudolph outduels a Russell Wilson? No. Do I think Mason Rudolph outduels a Josh Allen? No. Do I think Mason Rudolph outduels a Patrick Mahomes? No. Do we keep going? And that's kind of where I'm at with it. It's like, we can have all these pieces, but at the end of the day, that's what it's going to come down to. Because we've seen in big games, those are the guys that say, you know what, I don't care what defense is out there. I don't care who's around me. I'm that guy. And right now, Mason's not that. So that's my only disconnect in terms of just the patience of it, because I do want us to stay relevant. And hearing Kevin Colbert say that, it's like, well, you know what? How do we stay relevant then? I just don't think that Mason gives us that to that extent. Will we be competitive? Sure. Will we win games? Sure. We're not going to stink. That's the other thing. Like, don't think of this as, oh, man, Mason's going to make us win only 4 or 5 games. No, we'll still win anywhere between 8 to 10 games. But the difference is when you're in that postseason and you got to beat those caliber guys, you're going to be looking like how San Fran looks. All right, guys, if Jimmy G doesn't make a mistake and the defense plays great and we get us a special teams play, we can win. That's a lot. That's a lot to ask for week in and week out in the postseason. Would you agree?
Well, as we sit here right now, I think that's fair to say. It's just that we haven't seen Mason in that spot yet. We haven't seen him even just complete a full regular season and have success and then get to that point. That's where, at least with like Jimmy G or Kirk Cousins, I seen that. So I get your point about outdueling them. I can't really see it. I can't really see it right now, but it's like, man, can he flip the switch? Who knows? Who knows? But you're right. I think those are the guys. It's Deshaun Watson.
And think about this.
For a trade.
About this. If you weren't in Pittsburgh, you would not be saying, could Mason Rudolph flip the switch? That's just the reality of it. That's the reality of it, bro. If you were on one of these teams with one of these other marquee quarterbacks, you're not hearing anything about that Mason optimism. That is because we're in Pittsburgh. You're not. That's the only thing.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm going back to us thinking he's a first-round pick. I'm going back to what he did in the last couple games versus what he did all of 2019. It is, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he threw for like 30 touchdowns and 10 picks, though. I would not be surprised.
I would be very surprised if he did 30 touchdowns and 10 picks. I would be over here like, whoa. Thank you, football gods. We're back. I just don't see.
That's what I'm thinking. Here's my point. Here's my point. No, here's what I'm thinking though. Here's what I'm thinking. Like if he does that, does that change your opinion of him outdueling a Mahomes or a Josh Allen in a single game?
It doesn't change me in the sense of thinking he can outduel him, but it would make me feel like he's really Jimmy G then, or at least in that conversation. Because right now we're comping him to Jimmy G. I don't feel like Mason is better than Jimmy G right now. Because Jimmy G has won in this league multiple times. He's won in the postseason. We haven't seen any of that from Mason. So speculation versus proven, that's just, and this is no different than the free agent conversation versus the draft pick conversation. I always lean for the proven because I know the draft is a crapshoot. I always lean for the proven, even if he's capped. Jimmy G, we know he's capped, but he is proven. You know who he is. Kirk Cousins, you know who he is. I don't know if Mason is even on their level just yet. That's the issue. That's definitely an issue, man.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. But
I mean, think about how you talk about Kirk Cousins and just look at career-wise what Kirk Cousins has been able to do. Even look at him when he was in Washington and what he was able to do. And let's look at what Mason is doing. How do you say that Mason is even that?
Well, no, here's the thing, though. 2019, he didn't have weapons. Like, I don't even want to be sticking up for Mason like that. It's just, we still got to see with him. That's all.
All right.
We still got to see.
I like your patience,
I'm with you, though, in terms of Jameis Winston's. But like, if we pull him in for $10 million, that's fine. I just hate having to pay two quarterbacks $15 million or something. Like, I'd rather get rid of the Mason contract then, and so we could sign a guard. Like, if we're gonna roll with Jameis, I don't want extra dudes on the roster.
I'm with you. I definitely
but Deshaun Watson, like I said, same thing with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, same thing as Russell Wilson. He'll be your franchise guy. It's going to be a $40 million cap hit. You're going to be having to give up stuff too. You just got to deal with some of the off-field baggage. But in terms of just, you have your guy. That's why Deshaun Watson could be that answer. Got to get cleared, obviously. Outside of those two, I'm not that gun-ho on anyone else. I like the Malik Willis option, but if I'm GM, I want him to start. I just don't know if that's happening.
No, very
so
true.
Those are mine. That's how I'd play it out if it was me.
Yeah. No,
but
man.
I keep holding on hope. This is why I have Mason. If we're going to rank all those situations, that's why I have Mason in that 3 to 4 range of quarterback options, just because he's $5 million. And if I actually think, if I think it's feasible, he could throw for 30 touchdowns and 10 picks this year. That's a huge steal. That's huge value. Because if he does that, then we got to see the next step of the playoff type of shit. Because
fair enough.
I'm with you. Right now, as we sit here, I don't see him outdueling a Josh Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, any of those dudes. But if he has that type of season, all of a sudden our perspective can change. I don't think it's that far-fetched he could have that season. I'm just putting it to you that way. Especially when you add the extra game.
So I just simply look at it like this, man. The hope that you keep holding on to with Mason, it reminds me of this movie. You're probably too young for it. It's called The Titanic. Leonardo DiCaprio. It's an awesome movie. Okay? But at the end of the movie, it's a scene where his love interest, Rose, is laying on a door in the middle of the ocean, and she's holding on to Jack. That was his name in the movie. And she's holding on. She's holding on. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, we're going to make it out of this. I'm holding on. I believe it. I believe we're going to make it. We're going to survive. And at the end, when she decides to check on, this person she's been holding on to, she realizes, oh yeah, it's a dead body. He's frozen. It's over. She kicks him to the curb. When I look at Mason Rudolph and I see how you're holding on to him, you're like, yeah, we're going to make it, Mason. We're going to make it, Mason. You got 30 touchdowns in you. You got 10 picks in you or less. Oh, come on, Mason. You got an extra game. Come on, Mason. Listen, Rose, you holding on to Jack, bro. I don't think that's happening, baby. All right, just let him go. Just let him go. It ain't happening. I don't see it. I really don't. But either way, that's the beauty of this thing, man. Time will tell. So,
I don't want to be holding on. I could just see him doing that. I mean, if I'm gonna say 25-10 though, like, why not a couple more, especially when you add an extra game?
All right. Okay. What if that extra game is Cleveland and they're running that Tampa 2 again?
Threw for 3 tutties against Cleveland, the most recent.
Hopefully it's not on Thursday night. Hit them in the face. No, I'm playing.
Threw for 300 and 3 against them last time.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm at this point. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well. But I like it though.
I can't believe I'm at this point. You know what? I'm going to stick with it. I'm sticking with. If we stick with Mason, I'm saying 30. I'm saying he puts up a 30 piece this year.
All right. I would hate to ask what's that mean for your fandom for Dwayne Haskins, since you already confirmed that he was your guy. 1-7 left. I just check.
Oh, if he wins, we'll say 30 for him. Whoever wins, I can see it happening.
So either one of those guys are 30-10. Either one of those guys, 30 touchdowns, 10 picks.
I can see it happening. But listen, I just feel like Mason's going to be the quarterback. I just really do at this point.
I'm not gonna lie,
I would like a fair competition between Haskins and Mason. I really would, because I think Haskins has more upside. He's got the arm, all that type of stuff. Even more mobility, I think. Actually, I don't know. Haskins definitely Haskins definitely a lot faster. I'm saying like getting out of the pocket. Mason might be a little quicker just getting out of the pocket. Yeah. But Mason straight line speed, better. Haskins has that. Yeah.
I feel like Mason moved better in the pocket, but I do think that Haskins has the better, like I said, just straight line. So I'm with you on that. All right, we got some supers that just came in.
Let's see how it plays out, dude. I'm sticking with it. That's my take. Mason 30 if he's starting. Mason 30 touchdowns, and we're gonna be like, holy hell. Okay. Steelers made a right move with this one, especially if his contract's only $5 million. The question let's say if he does that though. Let's say if he does that. There's next levels to this, and this is what you were talking about. We got to see how he does in the playoffs, because then after this season, now you got to pay him.
Yep.
We got to see.
But you don't mind paying him if he's proven that. We don't knock Mason because we think that, oh man, he's this great talent and we're not utilizing him. No, we knock Mason because it's like, bro, we haven't seen it consistently enough. And we're asking ourselves, well, if he was that good, or if we have 30-10 in that's really what he's capable of. Well, we know at times last year we were struggling. We know at times last year Ben was struggling. If you have a 30-10 caliber quarterback, you're not sitting that guy during that process. No, especially when we saw how last season went. Remember, we weren't out the gate just winning and beating teams. No, we went through a dark time last year where it was like, bro, are we about to just blow it up and do a full rebuild? And then it was like, oh, okay, we got one out here. Oh, we got a win over here. Oh, this team lost. Oh, that team lost. Oh, we're getting a chance to get into this thing. That's a totally different conversation. But if you got a guy that's 30-10 on your bench, a guy that you feel has that type of potential, you're not sitting him in last season the way last season was going at times. That's just my perspective on it.
We had that guy starting. Unfortunately, it was hijacked. Let's go, UW. Am I right on the super chat? I got let's go, UW.
Hold on, I got one in front of you. This should be Sean 0989. He says, love Big Ben, but I wish we had thrown Haskins. Oh, no, you're good.
He did that one.
Yeah, we're good. See ya. Let's go, UW. Yep.
He says we should supposedly be getting some Watson news on Friday. Okay, we'll be tuned in.
Hope it's good news for everybody involved, because that is a lot of people involved potentially. So, yeah.
Vince Trombetta. Rudolph had 0 preseason touchdowns and tied with the Lions when he got the start. 30-10 is off the wall.
Like Michael Jackson, baby. It's all good. I ain't tripping. Off the Wall is an amazing album. I'm with it, man. I'm with it. Deke, if we going off the wall, let's go full off the wall, man. Let's go full off the wall today then, baby.
Ty_. Great show and enjoy the content. How do I join the upper room And what's your thoughts on Lamar Jackson representing himself in the contract talks?
All right, so a couple of things. First off, to join the upper room, we greatly appreciate you as well for your consideration. But in the description box of this video and any video, you can see where it says join the upper room, and it'll have a link there. You can just click that, or if you go to the desktop version while you're watching YouTube, it should be on the homepage of this channel right here. Right in the top right corner, I believe it is, there'll be a button that says join. You just click that. It's super easy and tell you all the details and stuff like that. Now, in terms of Lamar representing himself for his contracts, I mean, guys have done it. The biggest thing is when you're negotiating it as yourself, you just get to be in the room. You get to vouch for yourself. You don't have to talk through an agent, but you're still going to have a contract lawyer come through and file out the paperwork to make sure that you're not getting taken advantage of and things like that. But when you bet on yourself as a, your own negotiator, you got to know how you're moving. You can't allow the influence of the organization or your personal feelings to really get in the way. And that's the part where I always felt like it was a little bit of a challenge for those guys that want to represent themselves. Because for me, I could go through my agent and I could tell him, hey man, look, I don't care what they're saying. This is my number. Whereas at the time, if I'm having to talk to Coach Tomlin, I might not feel as strong because of our personal relationship. I might not feel as strong about this number because of me and Kevin Coper's personal relationship. But that can hurt me in the long run, even though it's helping the team. And you hear what Lamar said, man, he wants to be what? He said a billionaire, right? He wants to get that money. So to get that, you're not going to be able to take discounts. You're not going to be able to leave money on the table. You're going to have to essentially get as much as you can.
Which would be good for us.
Yeah, it absolutely would be. Absolutely it would be. But that's kind of, my thought process with it. It's like, I don't fault him for it because you also cut out the 3% that you would have to pay your agent on your deal. That's another thing. So you're getting all that money in-house, which is immaculate because when you cut that 3% check on some of these deals, you'd be like, ugh, that kind of hurt. But if you have a contract that's worth it and you're actually able to negotiate it to that extent, now you're keeping all that in-house as well. So like I said, there's some pros to it, but there's definitely some cons. It's a little risky at times, but I don't fault Lamar for doing it. I mean, we've seen other guys do it and have success with it. If he feels like, he's equipped to do that and he's mature enough to handle it in terms of being able to balance the business and the personal relationship that's going to happen with that conversation, then sure. But as I've told you, with negotiations, they get a little ugly at times. That's one of the biggest reasons why I understand the Steelers not wanting to negotiate during season. Because when you're telling them that you're this guy and you can do this and this and this, and you should be paid that, and they're telling you, no, we think you're this and this and this, and that's what we're going to pay you this, you can get a little friction. As I've told you plenty of times, like, yeah, friction happens. And if that would have been happening to me during the season, I don't know how eager I am to show up to work. I don't know how invested I become, when you tell me you view me as this, when I think I'm this, and the way that you are using me confirms that I'm this. That's all.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta sneeze. Maybe, because once I said it, now I don't gotta sneeze anymore. I don't. I'm good. Let's go, right. UW. Says, outside of a Watson-type quarterback, we aren't a QB away from competing for a ring. We have a lot of needs to fix. Got to plan 3 years ahead. Long-term planning. Whoa. No, I think we can put together a really nice roster.
I do too, and I do think, man, this 3-year away window, man. All right. I like the patience. We don't do that here. I like the patience. I'm just saying, man, 3 years is going to be a long time. That's a long time. Think about how people were acting in 2019. People forget that. I don't think people got 3 years to 2019. In 2019, people was like, oh, man, we love this team. Oh, they're great. Then it was like, oh, you know what, fire everybody. Then it was like, man, I don't know what's going on here. That's all I'm saying. I just don't know.
No.
All right.
Yeah, we can't put up with that for 3 years. I don't know if we could even make it half a season. Tyree McClendon. If Mason starts, Steelers are going 5-12. We will draft the QB from Ohio State next year then. I mean, if we're going 5-12, we got to see what Haskins has. If Mason starts and we're 5-12 at some point, you got to be putting Haskins in.
Why? You got to get the full sample size, right? We need to see if he can overcome adversity.
Half a season. You could do half a season. I mean, if it's that bad.
We didn't. We didn't do that last year. Last year, think about where we were last year at the halfway point. We were looking kind of janky.
Made the playoffs.
Because you stuck with it, right?
That's right.
So why wouldn't you stick with it with Mason?
Ben gets way more benefit of the doubt than Mason.
You said Mason's a 30-10 guy.
No, I said that's not far fetched. I don't.
So if it's not far fetched, if you feel like he has 30-10, if he has 30-10 in him, you got to see if it's going to materialize. Why rush it?
Oh, dude, if we're starting, if he's playing bad,
come on now. No. Come on
obviously,
now.
that pace is completely out there, and it's not going to happen. We're like 2-5 or 2-7. No, you're eager, not eager to make the switch. You're way more apt to make the switch. Mm-hmm. Get Haskins in there then.
I hear you.
Jacob Malacio. So y'all realize it took Bradshaw 4 years to develop. Ooh, give the man an honest chance. Y'all are like bloodthirsty sharks. Bradshaw did suck his first few years. And he was benched and shit.
Bro, we're not about to compare a Hall of Famer to Mason Rudolph. I get the analogy of time.
It doesn't hurt for a reference.
I get the reference of time and all this, but it's like, come on, bro. We're talking about Terry Bradshaw.
Steve Young, late bloomer.
It
Troy
took
Aikman,
Patrick.
First couple years were tough.
It took Patrick Mahomes. He had to sit a whole year before he got good. Come on, stop this, man. What are we talking about here, bro?
Rodgers, he had to wait behind Favre.
Is that what we're gonna do? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, he gonna be an Aaron Rodgers then, man. Because it took Aaron Rodgers some time to develop. Yeah. Now that I think about it, he'll be Josh Allen. Yeah, it took Josh Allen a couple years to develop as well. I'm not as optimistic. I'm sorry.
I wonder. Hold on. Let's pull up this scenario. Rodgers, Favre gets hurt in Rodgers' second year, and Rodgers just has to come in. What if he was looking a little shaky at the time?
Hey, you tell me.
Maybe that's why they didn't start him. Maybe that's why we had Mason.
You tell me, man.
Waiting in the wings on purpose. We thought he was a 3 or 4 year guy. It was we need to wait 4 years, and then he's gonna come in. It's just what we saw in 2019 was too early in his process. That's why the Steelers are sticking with him. Maybe Rodgers would have looked bad if he came in his second year.
I just can't believe this. I'm just so surprised that we're talking about these type of talented quarterbacks sitting for a year or two for whatever reason, and we're like, oh yeah, Mason is just like that. I'm like, bro, do you see what stage of desperation we have reached with Mason?
We're not saying just like that. We're just looking for a reference. We're looking for a reference.
Just think the references y'all are making. I'm just like, am I missing something here? You think Kirk Cousins is a bad quarterback? Mason
he's fine.
Nowhere.
He's not Mason, a quarterback.
No. Don't you say he's fine now, because you've on numerous times talk about how he sucks and how he's average and all these other things.
He's not the quarterback I want. No.
All I'm saying is this: the slander that you give Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is 3 times the quarterback of Mason Rudolph today. Not saying that Mason can't become better than him, but as it stands today, Kirk is way more accomplished, way more proven.
I agree with that. Problem with Kirk is
that you have for
$35 million cap hit or whatever it is.
Yeah, bro. This is crazy.
I'm with you. Kirk's a way better quarterback, but at the same time, he's got a $35 million cap hit on the Vikings. Mason's $5 million. That's the difference. Whereas,
fair enough.
I wouldn't be surprised if Mason Rudolph puts up the same numbers as Kirk Cousins next year. It's just that he's $5 million. Wouldn't be surprised.
Anywho, hey, I see that we got, about 400 viewers in here. We're sitting about 137 likes. Make sure you like the video, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and turn the notification bell on as well.
Dave Shipley, with Rodgers' contract, did he just sacrifice the talent around him? Their cap has to be tight. At least Ben wanted weapons.
No, that definitely is something that you have to worry about. But I do think that if free agents want to go there to Green Bay to play with Aaron Rodgers, they would take less to go. They will make that work. Because, like you said, right now in the NFC, who outside of the Rams is his biggest challenge right now, or his biggest test to keep him from being a 1 seed? He doesn't have a lot of that right now, especially with Brady retiring. So, yeah, I just think that it's going to work out for them, man, because he is that guy at quarterback. He's already proven that.
AT. Last week, before the Combine, I said we should get Jordan Davis, and Moats said he didn't want him because of Alualu. Tyson's injury was severe, and he's gone next year. I think he's the best option round 1.
No, I mean, he makes sense. And I'll even change that. And I don't know how hard I was on that stance, but I'll say this, though, man. Even if you bring in Jordan Davis with Tyson and Tua coming back, you still want a young guy in the wings, because Tyson, how many more years is he going to play before he retires? Maybe 1, maybe 2 with Tua. Okay, I think he has, a year? Or is it 1 or 2 years left on that deal? So it's like, man, are you extending him, or are you allowing him to go ahead and and leave. At least having a Jordan Davis already in-house, you already have that thing rolling. I think for me, the biggest reason why I was saying that I wouldn't take Jordan Davis in the first round this year is because if we have the option of a tackle or one of these quarterbacks that we talked about, or even just a top-flight linebacker sitting there, I would much rather go that route than go with a Jordan Davis. That was my just personal opinion on the position and the impact versus some of these other positions.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, because you haven't been against drafting Jordan Davis.
Yeah, not at all, man. Not at all.
We just got an upper room member.
Uh-oh. Is this tacos? Tacos. Welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And we greatly appreciate your support for the channel, man. It helps us help you. So we're going to keep this content rolling. But, Deke, I'm looking at the clock. I got about, 9-10 minutes before I got to get ready to namaste. So let's hop into this final discussion. This final topic. Man, we got an all-pro linebacker available to us, Deke. Deke, Bobby Wagner, Super Bowl champion, proven winner, proven leader. To me, still, that guy at linebacker. He is on the market now. I can't say that I'm surprised that he was released. Whether you're talking about the contract, he was scheduled to get $16.3 million on this year of his deal. I also wasn't surprised that, hey, man, he came in with Russ in 2012. They both been staples. Russ has been the offensive guy. Bobby's been the defensive guy. So to see Russ get traded, it didn't surprise me to see Bobby be released, whether he asked for that or the team decided on it. But then the final thing is, like we also hinted to earlier, if the Seahawks are trying to do a complete rebuild and get younger and get the players that they want in there, change the culture a little bit, then yeah, you move on from a Bobby so you can have more money to do what you want to do. Now, Bobby is still, to me, the best linebacker, or arguably one of the best linebackers in today's NFL. He is a true 3-down linebacker. Could play the run at a high level, matches up with any of the elite slot receivers, tight ends, running backs. You see that constantly. He gets you turnovers as well, splash. And he is a high-volume tackler. He runs the numbers up. And still, relatively young. I like that about him, man.
30, 31?
I was about to say, I like that. Absolutely. I like that about him. So when I think of him, I'm like, I can get on board with that. How you feel about Mr. Bobby Wagner?
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Saying, this is what I thought we should do with Devondre Campbell. We trade Bush, open up some cap space, and then we get Devondre Campbell, and then maybe we draft a guy in the first or second round to kind of complete that linebacking core. So yeah, Bobby Wagner's available, all pro, one of the best linebackers, if not the best middle linebacker in the league still right now.
Yeah,
it's a no-brainer to me. What's he gonna cost, you think?
Well, that's the question.
14, 15 maybe. At his age, maybe he takes like a little bit less.
So you know why I don't think that pertains to Pittsburgh? Who's our quarterback?
Mason. But this is why
no.
$5 million makes this type of option available.
But
Mason,
listen, though. So just check it out. If you're Bobby Wagner, you said, okay, I walked away from 16. Would you rather take 14 to play in Denver with Russ, or 14, 15, 16 to play in Pittsburgh with Mason? You're going to have to overpay for a Bobby Wagner. So I think the more legitimate question is, are you willing to pay 18, potentially 19 for Bobby Wagner to come here to Pittsburgh? Because guys like him have already been paid. Guys like him are trying to win. And guys like him, like I said, in their 30s, they don't have the luxury of, let's wait and see with Mason. Let's wait and see who we draft the following year. If you're Bobby, that's what you got to ask yourself. Are you willing to take a lot more to come to this situation? And especially on the heels of when he was leaving in Seattle, where they were struggling. I just personally don't see the interest for him to want to come here on that level without us having to pay a little bit more than market value. And that's why I'm like, man, I don't think we can talk about him in a discount variety or in a, hey, man, if his market is 16, we're only going to pay 16, because we're going to have to entice him a little bit more. We're going to have to give him a little bit more reason to say, no, don't look at these guys with good quarterbacks. Come to us. We got a guy that Deke thinks could be 30 and 10. The rest of us probably not, but
get me in the room.
You feel me? Like that's the part of the conversation. And that's the part where I say, man, I think that hurts us a little bit, man.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And that might be too much then. Might be. If you're telling me Devondre Campbell is 10-11, I like that a little bit better than probably Bobby Wagner at his amount. And then we could get a cornerback. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, if you're telling me it's that amount, too much. If you're telling me 14,
I just think that it's going to cost a little 15, bit more,
go
man.
for it.
Yeah, I just think whatever his market is, we're going to have to pay more. And that's just the reality of it when you talk about what is a draw for a guy of Bobby Wagner's caliber. Bobby can ball. Bobby is a winner, man. Bobby is a champion, a true leader, all pro. I mean, what? He's been in the league 8 years. He's been first team all pro for 6, 7 of them things? Like, he's like that. We know that. But that's the part for me where I'm just like, do we have to pay more? And how comfortable are we paying more? Because this model with Mason only works if we do what? Bring in a lot of talent around him, right? And that's what we've been saying all offseason. That's not nothing new. We said we have to bring in, fix this O-line. Get this something on defense, something over here on defense, something over here on offense. And if we have those pieces around and Mason plays just good, right? And he's not turning the ball over, he's not killing us, so you can win with that. But I do think that these are the type of players that you have to spend a little bit extra on to make that model work. That's my only thing with that. And I wonder where's our cutoff with that? But then at the same time, what's the point of having all of this cap space and all of this money available to us if we are not going to use it in situations like this?
Yeah, we got to use it. It's just how you divvy it up. I think 18 or 19 would be too much for Bobby Wagner. Yeah. If you could get Stephon Gilmore for like 10 or 11, then also Devondre Campbell for 10 or 11. Like, I'd just rather have those two dudes.
No, I would, man. I mean, because Devondre, we said he balled out this year. And Gilmore, he balled out. And we know Gilmore is very realistic because of the Flores connection. Right now with Bobby, we don't have that connection. I mean, yes, we got Coach Tomlin. That is exciting. Brian Flores is exciting. But you still, for a guy like him, he sees big picture as well. He understands, like, man, I'm still trying to win another one. And that's the only reason why I feel like, man, it's going to cost us a little bit more to get him here. But I would love him here. I mean, you just think about how he could help Devin Bush develop in a sense, right? Young Devin Bush being in meetings with him every day, that goes back to how it was when Bush was with Vince. It's like, man, you're going to learn stuff. You're going to pick up on things. You're going to see the game a different way, and it's going to slow down for you. So the impact is massive. Because now you got your young guy starting to develop at a faster rate, and now you potentially say, man, okay, now we got our two linebackers for the next couple of years at least. But I just think that it's going to
cutting Joe Schobert clears us like
absolutely. It gives us more space. $8-9 million
in cap space too.
So you can make it work. You definitely could, and it would pay huge dividends. I mean, you talk about Bobby Wagner with T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, Minkah Fitzpatrick. Oh, I'll even throw your boy Kello with it. I'll even throw your boy Kello. A Kello in there as well. Ooh,
they got that Seattle connection.
Come on, baby.
Bobby.
Come on, baby. I just think that would look really good, bro. I do. But like I said, my biggest hangup is I do think it's going to cost more because of our quarterback situation. That's the only thing.
Can't we have someone talk him into a cheap deal? What do we got to show him? Do we got to pull the Pat Riley, take him into Heinz Field, show him the 6 Super Bowls?
That's what it has to be, dude.
We need me showing him Mason highlights.
Take him down to Permanis, give him the talk.
There's got to be something.
This was on the table for you, all right? Yeah.
Denver does make sense. I don't know what their cap space is as we speak right now because it might be shot with this trade, but that would make sense. You just follow Russ over to Denver.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how he feels about Russ. Was he part of
you're right.
the defensive players that were ripping on Russ the whole time he was up there? I don't
know. No comment. But what we do need to do is stop the show.
Oh, yeah.
Not just because of the clock, but Knight Rider 16 has showed up, baby. And you know when Knight Rider 16 showed, it's a little different. So if you would like to take the floor real quick, we can, hit him, wrap this up, and then I can namaste.
That works. So if Mason was on that 49ers team, do you think he's making it to a Super Bowl and the NFC Championship? I just don't see it.
Nope.
That was Mason 2 years ago, though.
Nope.
Mason now.
I don't see it.
Mason this year, though, what he's going to be
Mason
doing.
This year? The 30 and 10 version?
I get it, yeah. 2019 Mason, hell no.
Right, 30.
Or just the Mason that we know, I can't see it right now, no.
If it's 30 and 10, then sure. I just don't think we know Mason is 30 and 10 just yet. I think we're like trying to paint this picture of him like that. And I get it because we're, in that stage where we have to be optimistic about the guys in house. We have to start talking about them in a more better light to make us feel just hopeful. But yeah, I don't think that, Mason on that Niners team, even as he is today, with that team back then, is taking them to an NFC Championship game or even taking them to a Super Bowl. I just don't believe it.
I think I like what he was saying in that Jim Rome interview too, where he's like, you know what, the criticism, he kept bringing up barbershop talk. He's like, actually, I don't mind it. It's par for the course. I understand people being critical of me or not believing in me. I just got to prove them wrong. I was liking that.
And I do hope he proves a lot of guys wrong, man. And it starts with him believing in himself. He can't control what the Steelers do. He can't control, who they bring in, whether they're drafting a guy, signing a guy in free agency. He can't control any of that. But what he can control is his work ethic. He can control his preparation. And when he gets those opportunities, because we know he's going to get an opportunity, man, make sure you go out there and put your best foot forward. If he does that, man, and it works out, then great. But if not, and the chips don't fall, all right, well, either way, he can feel confident in himself that he gave it his best chance. But right now, I just don't know if that's always been the case with him in terms of self-belief, because at times we said he looked like he was uptight when we would compare him to a Duck Hodges. And it was like, man, that's the one position where you can't be uptight. You have to be a little bit looser. You have to be able to just play and not be robotic or overthinking it in a sense. And at times, Mason does appear to overthink it. So it's in there, though. Like I said, it's a chance for him to develop, man. I am hoping that it works out for him. I just don't have the patience that, Steelers fans necessarily have from my prior experiences, baby. I was in Buffalo.
Bro, no, I
was in Arizona,
to you about
bro.
70 to 80% of Steelers fans are probably more on your side. They're ready to move on to Mason right now before the season.
I've done that, baby. That was not fun at all. Not at all. But yeah, let's hurry this thing up, man. Let's get Damon Brown, and after that, man, we do got a rule. So yeah, I am not in trouble.
I think we got some more than that. I'll rattle them off quick, though.
All right.
Alfred Galloway says, you see the AB interview on the Pivot podcast. I watched a little bit of it.
I heard about it. I haven't had a chance to check it out just yet. Did you?
Dude, actually, that would be good to talk about. Like, you should listen because he brings up some stuff with the Steelers.
Okay.
I don't know if, I guess because it's kind of relevant now. It's up to you, though. I mean, he brings up some really good stuff.
Well, we'll look into Friday's show anyways, man. So we ain't tripping on that. I'll look into it for Friday.
Okay. Evan Bauman. Would you guys have been happy had the Steelers traded a package like the Broncos to get Wilson or Rodgers? Don't think we are ready yet. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah. I would have been fine with it just because, like I said, we know that they're force multipliers and they're going to bring in other free agents as well.
How about this one? Breon King. Deke says Ben is the GOAT, but thinks Mason gets 8 more touchdowns than Ben last season. Deke was a Mason truther the whole time.
Woo! Let me find out. Deke was calling Matt Canada to say, hey, man, don't call that play for Ben. Don't you do that. Don't you do that.
No, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, though. Matt Canada is going to be all for Mason this year, whereas last year he was hijacking the whole thing and trying to go against the GOAT. If anything, Ben, to go against the whole organization and get us in the playoffs, that's GOAT type of status right there. Yeah. AT, I think, like he should have had 30 touchdowns at least last year. Should have at least. AT, I think Bobby would come to Pitt for about 14 to 15 to play with TJ. TJ's that force multiplier that we're talking about. He's the QB for defense.
No,
Tomlin and Flores also doubt Mason is our QB week 1.
Now, see, Deke thinks that Mason's still going to be that QB week 1.
I think he's going to be QB 1. I do. I actually do think he's going to be QB 1. Damon Brown. How many years did it take for Joey Porter, Kendra Bell, Shazier, and Foot to develop? Not as long as it's taking Bush to develop. He's trash, period. I don't buy the injury excuse.
I didn't know where he was going. I was like, are we about to have another Mason analogy? I swear, I was like, bro, what are we doing now? I like your thought process, Damon. He's a 5'5". So I'm going to hold out. I'm going to say that, you know what? He's going to continue to develop because he will, man. He's still young. And that's the reality of it. He is very young. So for him, man, he just has to have that reality check. And it all happens to us at various stages in our careers, man, when we're developing. But don't completely lose hope in Devin just yet. I'm way more optimistic about Devin than I am about Mason. If I got to be real about it, I'm way more optimistic about Devin. Way more.
Hey, you want one more comparison before we roll out here?
All right, let me hear it, man.
More
let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Kurt Warner. Couldn't even make the league. Was bagging groceries. Mm-hmm. Come on.
Mm-hmm. I love how we compare Mason to Hall of Famers. This is beautiful. That's a perfect way for us to roll out of here today.
Not a comparison, just a reference. Reference.
Hey, Hall of Famer or not, it's all good. So with that being said, though, do appreciate everybody that has tuned in with us this morning, man. This has been a fun show, man. The chat, obviously, y'all were awesome, man. Shout out to Deke, man, always holding us down, baby. But with that being said, man, we will catch y'all on the next time. And until next time, baby.
Big shout out to AJ Martinez again.
Okay, okay.